Welcome to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the #1 podcast and resource for Black entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful, sustainable businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. If you're currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, you're invited to join us each and every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family and get ready to elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 603. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today is going to be part one of a two-part series titled The Foundation Framework. The Foundation Framework. And today's episode number 603 is titled No Leads, No Business, How to Build a Predictable Lead Generation Machine in 2026. No leads, no business. How to build a predictable lead generation machine in 2026. Now, most businesses don't fail because of bad ideas, guys. They fail because nobody knows they exist. And we're going to dive into these foundational principles in the first two episodes of 2026. I already told you guys before, we're talking about actionable content that's going to move the needle from point A to point B and help you build and grow successful, sustainable businesses. Now, before we get to today's show content, let me just share a few things with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and resource links, such as the link to my latest webinar, plugandprofitsideHustle.com. That is my newest webinar. If you're looking for extra income, part-time or full-time income with AI, you don't have to learn AI. You don't have to sell anything. Go to plugandprofitsideHustle.com and register for the webinar. Also, if you're a first-time listener, we drop a new episode every Monday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on all your major podcast platforms and YouTube. So wherever you're listening to this or watching this, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll be able to be alerted when new episodes drop. Now let's get ready for today's show content. Remember, this is part one of a two-part series called The Foundation Framework. So make sure you tune in again next week to episode number 604. But today's show topic is titled No Leads, No Business, How to Build a Predictable Lead Generation Machine in 2026. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, guys, most businesses don't fail because of bad ideas. They fail because nobody knows they exist. And in 2026, guys, attention is crowded. You got all types of algorithms, and those algorithms are changing and shifting daily, and you're relying on hope marketing as a business strategy, which is basically suicide. So in this episode, guys, I'm going to break down why lead generation is the #1 foundational skill that every entrepreneur must master, guys, to be able to stay in business. All right. You have to master that to succeed in 2026. You're going to learn how to build a predictable system that attracts qualified prospects every day, guys, without begging, hustling, or chasing people who aren't interested. That is the crux of your business. You have to learn how to generate qualified leads on a consistent basis, or nothing else matters. Everything is downhill from there, guys. All right. So let's talk about why businesses really fail. Now, once again, you can have the best product, you can have the best service, you can be the best at whatever you do. But the problem is, even though you're talented, you have a great product or service, you have a great professional logo, you're branding. The problem is, if you have no leads, guess what? You're not going to make any money. No leads equals no sales equals no business. Okay. Businesses don't fail from bad ideas. They fail basically, guys, from lack of consistent attention. So the number one reason businesses fail is not products. It's basically obscurity. All right. You might be an amazing entrepreneur, but if nobody knows you exist, it doesn't matter. So let's set the expectations. Today, we're going to talk about leads. Next week, episode 604, we're going to talk about offers. And these two together form the foundation framework. And you're going to need a strong foundation to build your business. The foundation framework, without a strong foundation, guys, it's a wrap. It's a moot point. Now, let's talk about number one. What is a lead really? A lead is not a follower, it's not a like, and it's not a random website visitor. So we get this all the time. So when you're on social media, if you're heavy on social media, people think the more followers you have, the better, which is true. It can be true, but that is not a lead. A true lead, guys, is someone who has raised their hand and identified themselves, given permission to contact them again. So they've raised their hand. They're taking action. Okay. So here's a plain definition. A lead is a person who has expressed interest in what you sell and given you the follow-up, or the way to follow up. Let me repeat that. A lead is a person who has expressed interest in what you sell and given you a way to follow up. There's a key distinction. It is attention versus interest versus intent. There's attention versus interest versus intent. So you move from being a stranger to audience to a lead to a buyer. Okay. A lead is a person who has expressed interest in what you sell and given you a way to follow up. It's not somebody just follows you or likes you or a random website visitor. They've taken the action, guys. All right. So here's a dangerous myth that a lot of entrepreneurs have. If I build it, they will come. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. And guess what? I've fallen prey to that also. I'm taking all my time trying to build something, and I don't even know if people really want what I'm building. So you always have to test. And I'm not going to digress because that's another full episode. But you have to test to find out what your audience really wants. But the dangerous myth, if I build it, they will come. Where does this myth come from? It's usually social media highlight reels. You see that all the time. You have viral success stories and you have great products that sell itself. That's a lie. Products don't sell themselves. The reality is the internet is loud, guys. Algorithms don't care. And also competition for attention is everywhere. So basically building it is step one. Driving traffic is step two. Converting is step three. You got to build it first, drive the traffic, and then convert that traffic. Those are the three steps. Hope isn't a marketing idea, guys. All right. You can't base your business on hope. So why does 2026 require predictable lead flow? And it's not just 2026. It could be any year. So let's talk about 2026 specifically, though. The environment has changed. You have AI content explosion. So everything you see out there a lot of times is created by AI. So there's a content explosion. Anybody can create content. Now, AI is great as a tool to leverage, and the people that know how to leverage and prompt AI correctly can create some amazing content. But why 2026 requires predictable lead flow? And I'm talking about the environment. So AI content explosion, ads are more expensive. I remember years ago, you could go on Facebook and Instagram, throw a couple of dollars down, and all of a sudden you can have a ton of leads, but they're more expensive now. And consumers' attention, guys, is fragmented. So we have the attention of a goldfish, right? We're flipping through images on social media every couple of seconds or half seconds. And so our attention is fragmented. So the random bursts and stuff that you used to do before aren't going to work anymore. So you need a system and not luck. Systems pay the bills, not luck. Hustle doesn't pay the bills. You need hustle, but systems pay the bills. All right. So I want to introduce a concept of a pipeline versus event. So a pipeline is predictable income, and it only comes from predictable leads, right? And if you ever look to sell your business, guys, investors buy predictable systems, not just the talent. So a pipeline versus an event. A pipeline is a system. It's a system. It's a lead generation system that's going to identify prospective customers. It's going to pre-qualify them, and then you're going to put them into that system, or that's part of the system, and then you're going to convert them to closed leads. All right. So there are 3 types of leads that every business should generate. Now, listen to this carefully, guys. There are 3 types of leads that every business should generate. The first one is inbound leads. So that's people coming to you. So that's sweet. People coming to you instead of you chasing people. And some of the examples are you can generate inbound leads by content marketing, podcast listeners, YouTube videos, SEO, webinars, lead magnets. So these are people that are inbound leads. Some of the pros are high trust, easier to convert. So there's higher trust and easier to convert because they've already come to you. Whatever content or information you put out there, it hit a sweet spot for them, and now they raise their hand. So inbound leads, that's number 1. All right. Number 2, outbound leads. You go to them. So some examples are people are doing a lot of cold email right now. And I know Google's been shutting that down, but outbound leads, cold email, LinkedIn prospecting, direct outreach, calling, and networking. So the pros of that is fast and you can actually control the volume. But the con to that, it requires processes and a thicker skin. So when you're doing outbound leads and you keep getting no after no after no, you have to have a thicker skin. So that's number 2, outbound leads. Number 3, referral leads. And that's borrowed trust, a referral lead. So that can be an example of past clients, professional partners, or affiliate relationships. The best lead out there, guys, are referral leads. The work has been done for you. So the pros on that, it's the highest conversion because the trust and everything else is there. You have that borrowed trust. The cons, it's unpredictable if not systematized. So every real business should eventually have all 3. Okay. Every real business should eventually have all 3: inbound, outbound, and referral leads. Okay. But you want to start with one. And this is where we get into some actionable steps, guys. This podcast is about moving you from point A to point B. If you're looking for like a hype man type podcast or something that's, going to get you all excited, you can run through a brick wall and then you start scratching your head and figure out, okay, I'm super excited now. What do I do next? This is not the podcast for you. This is for people that are serious about building and growing a successful, sustainable business. All right. So I just wanted to get that out real quick. But the 3 types of leads that you need are inbound, outbound, and referral leads. Now, let's talk real quick about why databases beat social followers. Why databases beat social followers. And I've talked about this on numerous episodes before. All right. Why databases beat social followers. Platforms that you don't own, guys, can't be the best way to generate leads. So you don't own Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, right? You can get banned. You can get demonetized. You can get throttled by your algorithm. There are people that are shadow banned. For example, my podcast on YouTube, I guarantee you is shadow banned because of the title and because of the content. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. We should have way more YouTube views than we do. But once again, I don't own that platform. Okay. So, but when you own your database, an email list, an SMS list, or a CRM, okay, you own it and you control it. This podcast, I own it and I control it. Nobody can stop me from downloading a podcast episode anytime I want. Okay. So you own it and you control it. Followers are rented, guys. Databases are owned. So here's a tip, guys. Distribution equals power. When you have the ability to distribute when and who you want to distribute to, that gives you power. So your list, guys, is equity. That's the biggest asset that any business has. So I know a lot of people are talking about, oh, email is dead. That's BS. It's not dead. It's never been dead. If you don't control the way you connect with your audience and you allow Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, or whoever else control it, then you don't have control of your business. All right. You don't have control of your business. And what we're talking about today, guys, is the foundational framework that every business needs in 2026 and beyond. And this is part 1, episode 603, titled No Leads, No Business, How to Build Predictable Lead Generation Machine in 2026. And that's what we're focusing on. Now, let's talk real quick about simple lead generation engines that work in 2026. And I want to keep this super simple. You can have all types of crazy funnels and all types of things, but we want to keep it simple. So this is what I use, for example. Mine, I usually use quiz funnels, a quiz funnel. And a quiz funnel is simply a series of questions that helps people identify themselves as to what they want, what they're interested in, and then it allows you to connect with them where they are. So why do they work? Quiz funnels are personalized, they're interactive, and they segment your leads automatically. So if you go to my website, blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, on the bottom, you're going to see a pop-up. Are you a business owner? And you can click yes or no. So based on the way you click, it segments you right there. Are you a current business owner? No. Okay. So I know from right from the bat that you don't have experience owning a business, and you may need different information or resources than somebody else that has a business already or that is experienced in business. Okay. So a quiz funnel. So what type of entrepreneur are you? These are just examples of quiz funnels. What's your marketing personality type? And basically the benefit to using quiz funnels is, guys, it's the right message to the right person. So I'm not giving out a generic message. I'm tailoring that message based on the answers to the actual quiz. So if you don't know diddly about starting a business, I'm not going to give you resources that you won't understand. I'm going to meet you where you are. Okay. So a simple lead generation engine that works in 2026, and one of my favorites is actually quiz funnels. Another one is lead magnets. All right. So you trade value for contact information. So a lead magnet, something simple, could be a checklist, a template, a mini course, or a cheat sheet. OK. And it solves one specific problem fast. That's what a lead magnet does. It solves one specific problem fast. And that's how you generate a good lead magnet. Another one is newsletters and communities. So ongoing relationships, you building authority, top of mind positioning, and monetization comes later, though. It could be through ads, offers, events, or partnerships. Okay. So in terms of a simple lead generation engine for 2026, you can look at quiz funnels, lead magnets, newsletters, and communities. Communities are big right now. I know a lot of people are going on to School, SKOOL. That's a big community out there right now, or it's a platform for communities. So people are using that. But you have to be able, guys, to be able to get in and generate leads and segment and qualify prospects and move them into your sales or lead generation system. Now, let's talk about using AI to prospect and segment at scale. So AI, guys, basically equates to leverage. So you can scrape and find ideal prospects ethically using AI. You can draft outreach messages. You can customize messages by industry, and you can analyze replies and sentiments. So use AI for research, qualifying leads, and tagging interests. And it doesn't replace you, guys. It multiplies you. And that's what people have to understand. A lot of people are relying too much on AI to be the brains behind the system. You have to be the brains, and you use the AI to leverage. Okay. So you need to use the AI to leverage. And now when we're talking about lead generation, real quick, guys, the one lead source first rule. The one lead source first rule. The biggest mistake that I see, guys, when people try to build lead generation systems is they're trying everything at once. And you can't do that. You need to understand one thing first and then move to something else once you master that. So the new rule is dominate one and then add another. That's the new rule. You dominate one and then add another. So for example, you may want to start out with quiz funnels only, okay? That may be your thing. Dominate that and then go to another. You may want to start out podcasting to an email list or YouTube to an opt-in. So it all depends, guys, but it's simple scales, complicated fails. Simple things scale, complicated fail. So start out with one thing first, okay? Now here's some weekly KPIs, key performance indicators to track, all right? So you have to become a CEO, guys, and not a hustler. I know hustling, yeah, I'm grinding, I'm hustling. That's all fine and dandy, but you have to be a CEO first and foremost. You got to look at the metrics. All right, and here's some of the metrics: number of leads, cost per lead, conversion to appointment, conversion to sale, lifetime value, unsubscribe rate. Okay, so they say what gets measured grows. All right, now let me tell you what my number one metric is every day. And my number one metric is not, most people think, oh, how much money did I put in my bank account today? You know, through my systems and things of that nature. But no, my number one metric is how many people did I add into one of my databases. I have multiple businesses with multiple databases, and that is my number one metric. And I know the more qualified people I add into my database, it's going to directly impact the amount of money that I make. So that is what I look for. How many people did I add to my database today? That's the first metric I look at. I don't look at the bank account because I know my bank account is going to be a function of how many new leads I put into my database. All right. So your weekly KPIs to track. Now, based on your business, it could be different things, but number of leads definitely has to be there. You're building your database. Cost per lead. What does it cost you to generate a new lead? How many those leads convert to appointments, conversions to sales, lifetime value, and your unsubscribe rate. So what gets measured, guys, grows. So you want to do a weekly review ritual. Every week, you need to look at those numbers or the KPIs that make sense for your business. Treat it like your blood pressure. You're checking your blood pressure every week because basically your leads are your blood and your lifeline to your business. No leads equals no sales equals no business. All right. So make sure you have those KPIs. Yeah, you can grind and hustle, but you need to become a CEO. All right. Now let's talk about some of the common mistakes that entrepreneurs make. So depending on only referrals. Now, if you got it like that, that's sweet. Because once again, referrals are the best type of lead that you can get. The trust has already been built by somebody else. But that's a common mistake. Posting content without a capture mechanism. Posting content is cool, but you want to be able to capture. So when you're on Instagram or social media, whatever you're using, try to capture that SMS, that text, or that email. All right. So posting content without capturing. Being scared to make offers. Closed mouth don't get fed, right? People have to know what you have. You don't have to do overkill, but people have to know your offers. Looking at chasing vanity metrics. Oh, how many followers you got? That's cool. You can have 1 million followers, but if you don't have any responsive followers or your audience isn't responsive, it doesn't matter. That's a vanity metric. Inconsistent activity, right? This podcast drops every Monday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what, on all your major podcast platforms and YouTube. And an episode has dropped 603 weeks in a row. Haven't missed an episode in 603 weeks. All right, so these are some of the things that you have to understand. Inconsistent activity is not helping you. No call to action. CTA, call to action. What's your call to action? People can see your content or whatever it is, but what do they need to do next? You have to be clear about that. Another mistake is confusing brand building with lead generation. Building your brand is totally different than lead generation. Okay, my brand is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Lead generation is something totally different. I have a webinar going on right now for people that want to get into AI without having to learn AI. Plug and profit sidehustle.com. If you're looking for a side hustle, that's lead generation. Okay, that's not building a brand. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint is the brand. And another mistake is building products before building your audience. Okay, building products before building your audience. A lot of times people are trying to build your product or service. Then once you spend all your time and resources doing it, you turn around and you scratch your head and say, okay, now who am I going to sell it to? But you need to build your audience first. When I built this platform, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and the whole ecosystem, I didn't sell anything for damn near 2.5 years. I wanted to build the audience, and then I wanted to find out, what does the audience want or need from me? And I let the audience tell me, okay? So you don't need more motivation, guys. You need a pipeline to be successful. That's the bottom line. You don't need more motivation. You need a pipeline to be successful. Now, before we get to the last segment of the show, guys, real quick, I just want to share my social media contact and resource links. So I mentioned at the top of the show, my new webinar is out, plugandprofitsideHustle.com. If you're looking to build a profitable side hustle with passive income without having to sell and monthly recurring revenue, go to plugandprofitsideHustle.com and enroll for the webinar. Also, if you need to connect with me, anything long, family, hit me on my email, jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, JAYJONES@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Instagram, I have 2 IG accounts. The first one is J Jones for real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. Second one is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn, type in J Jones, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have additional content on YouTube that is not on the show. So go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and hit that subscribe button. Also, Twitter or X, JJones001, JAYJONES001. So remember, guys, wherever you're listening to this or watching this, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll be alerted to the next podcast episode, which drops every Monday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on all your major podcast platforms and YouTube. Now, this last segment, real quick, guys, I just want to give you a little recap and let you know, guys, lead generation, everybody needs this. You have to have qualified leads coming in systematically, automatically, so you can build a successful, sustainable business. Leads are the oxygen for your business. You don't get that oxygen, you get cut off. You're done. You have to have a consistent flow of leads. And predictability is greater than random. So a lot of you are using all types of different things to generate leads, but they're random leads. There's no predictability. You want consistent, qualified leads. You want to build a machine that's going to bring you that each and every day, regardless of if you're sleeping, if you're awake, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, if you're on vacation for a week. You want predictable, qualified leads. You can't build a business on random leads. All right. And you have to understand, a database is greater than followers. Followers are great. You want to leverage social media, but you want to deplatform your social media followers off to your own database, your email database, your SMS or your text list or whatever it is. Deplatform them off of that. Leverage social media, but the real key is to be able to connect with your audience whenever and however you want to at any time without being scared of getting your Instagram account shut down, you're getting banned or shadow banned or things of that nature. So you need to own your database. That's where your leverage is, guys. That's where your leverage is. Owning your assets, owning your database. It's your biggest asset. And people don't understand this. Followers are good. Likes are good. That's all well and dandy. But deplatform them to build your database. So you can use all types of software out there. You can use ConvertKit. You can use Active Campaign. You can use Go High Level. You can use anything you want to build your database, but you have to build your database. I've said this probably 50 times, no joke, on the podcast over the years. When Borders bookstores went out of business, Barnes and Nobles didn't buy their physical stores. They didn't buy the physical books. They actually bought their database out of bankruptcy. That was the most important asset they had. They didn't care about the books or the locations. They knew if they had that database, that was a target audience that bought exactly what they sold. They understood that that was the true asset in the business. That was the value. So recognize and understand that. All right. So before we close on out, guys, I say this each and every week. You know, I appreciate you guys so much. Please continue to spread the word about the podcast, the whole ecosystem, online courses, webinars, workshops, and resources to help you move your business from point A to point B, taking actionable steps. Remember, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about building an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.